going to try a new recipe today. Of course it's a Monday, it's the time I get to do lots of different recipes and do my soup because I have something light after my fitness classes, but I have been checking some recipes, but I'm doing my own twist on this. It's a quiche but without pastry. Now I've seen some other people do it with a potato shell. I obviously don't use onions, so the ingredients I am going to use for my filling, I've heard use cottage cheese, and I'm going to be using the seriously lighter instead of grating cheese in it. Heard that's good. I'm going to use some leek instead of onions. I've got some sweet baby peppers. I have got some mushrooms. I've also got some cherry tomatoes, and I have got some smoked bacon medallions. I am also going to put some cracked black pepper, and I am going to use some herbs de Provence. So let's change the angle of the camera and crack on with this. What an excellent punny joke for my eggs. This is what I am going to be using to make my quiche in. I'm just going to pop that out of the way. I obviously need to peel the potatoes, and then I need to squeeze the moisture out. No, I'll have to peel the potatoes, then grate them, then squeeze the moisture out. So I'm going to peel these without further ado. I have got my trusty little scrap pot. I think the size of these potatoes, I have got as many that should cover that dish. Bring my grater closer. Just pop that down there while I peel the rest. Never worry if your potatoes are chitting, and that is chitting, not something else you might have thought I said, just in case there are any people with twisted minds watching. I've actually grown when it was lockdown. I have grown potatoes that have chitted before, and I had the most delightful potatoes from them. So, but you can just knock the chits off and carry on using the potatoes, or if you're peeling them like this, there is no need to knock them off because you just peel them. If I ever get round to it again, I will start to grow my own potatoes, because you can get much more flavour out of them. It's just knowing the right type and when to grow them. But we did have a bountiful crop for one meal when I tried it before, but they were absolutely very tasty. So don't knock these potatoes if they start sprouting, because you can still use them. They are perfectly safe. I am a true believer of days of the past when if it looks good and smells good, it is good. Nothing ever goes to waste. As you know, I use vegetables that are just a bit past their best in my soups. Now I actually am making a soup after this for tonight, and I know in the fridge I've got some leftover cabbage. I've still got a bit of swede, and I've got some very limp looking celery that I can pop in my soup. I'll see what else I can put in with it. I'll have some of this leek because it's a big leek I'm using, and I won't use all of it for this recipe, so I'll use some of that in my soup later. Right, they're all peeled. Now we're just going to grate them. And you can see how full of water potatoes are when you do this. I did think, rather than doing a crustless quiche, this was a genius idea. Take those bits off there. And it's getting some more free food in you. We all like to have the foods that are free, that you can eat as much as you can safely. Very good for weight loss and maintaining your weight nicely. Let's get the next one. Try and get that little bit there. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I'm also not sure how I'll get it out of my dish, but I didn't want to use one of my cake dishes. So as you can see, I have squeezed this out, dried it as much as I can, got as much moisture out. I have actually had to change my kitchen roll once already because it was quite wet indeed. So now I'm going to line the dish I'm going to do this in. So I'll bring that over. No judgment on how I'm doing this. I'm literally gonna make sure it all goes in off there, and then I will pat it around the edges and sides and cover this into a shell. Try and make it as even as possible. Just easing it up the sides. Some bits are thicker than others, so I'm just going to even this up a bit. To make it as even as possible. Tap the base down. Hello, Bella. Just got a little bit on my hands. Make sure that all goes in. Get a spatula to make sure it's all compacted down, I think. Get rid of that. Way it's not going to keep sticking to me. And I can make sure I've given it as good a pressing as possible. Oh, that little hair has come from. Get rid of that though. Not one of mine. It's been floating around in the air. Just push these sides flat. Try and give it a nice neat edge as much as possible. Maybe could have done with one more potato, but this will do for a first attempt. Always good to experiment and see how things come out when you find some inspiration and want to give it a go. Hello, Bella. Yeah, I think that will do nicely. Right, on to the next part. I'm just going to clean my side. So I think possibly about half of the leek. Actually, I'm going to do it this way, so I get some of the green and some of the white. I'll save that for my soup later. Already looking forward to this. There we go. Lovely. Try not to be so cat-handed. There we go, that's the leek. I'll do the pepper next. Bella is chatting to everybody, if you can hear her. There we go, let's add that to there. Oh. Kind of missed, never mind. Let's do some tomatoes. Add those to that. Give this a quick rinse. I want all the tomato going on the mushrooms. Chop these. If you're wondering why I haven't done the bacon yet, I will actually use some scissors and snip it in. So now I'm going to switch this for this. I'll crack my eggs and add everything else to them. We've got the Seriously Lighter, it's half a tub, so that's a healthy extra calcium. But obviously I'm not going to eat this whole quiche as one, so we'll just swip it per portion. I've got the fat-free cottage cheese and the herbs. I'm just going to wipe that because I think I splashed it with potato. Right, so I'm using 3 eggs. There we go. Let's get myself a fork. Got a little mix up first. We'll add the cottage cheese to it. All that in. Because this is fat free, it is also on plan and not a healthy extra, it's just free. So let's break that down and mix that into the eggs and make sure it's really good mixed in there. Lovely. Now I think I'm going to have to warm this up a little bit. Because it's quite solid. I think I'll need it to be a bit softer. I don't think I need to do it too much. Well, actually, no, I think I can use that. Let's get rid of that. Add the, give that a good stir and loosen that up a bit. It's 55 grams. Going to give it a nice flavour. And get my spatula back. Let's give that a little clean. I'll be able to scoop all that out there. Sorry for the banging onto the pot. There we go. Let's not waste any of that. Do it without banging for you. There we are. And make sure that's mixed in nicely. Want that to spread around the complete mixture. Sorry, I've got to clean my nose, sorry. It smells good already. For me, that I don't really do a lot of cottage cheese, that's a very good compliment there. There we go, lovely. Right, I'm going to add some black pepper. And then also some herbs de Provence. Nice generous slug of that. Make sure that's all mixed through beautifully. Now get some bacon. Use a couple of medallions, maybe 3. Now I'm going to snip this into pieces, and I will add it to my egg mix. And I know I've added these into 3 and cut them as 3, but they will break down when I stir it through. Right, so we're going to add all the mushrooms in. I'm going to add my leek and pepper and tomatoes. Get it all combined. Should just about fit in here. I'm not going to mix it quite as vigorously. Don't want to send any of it flying. Give that a nice mix through. The other one's ready. So that's quite good because we're about to pop this in our potato shell. Everything's nicely combined. Let's move this out of the way. Bring our potato shell back. And now we're going to fill it. All that lovely filling in. Just get my spatula back. Make sure get all that goodness. And now I'm going to put this in the oven for about 40 minutes. So, there it is. We will come back when that is cooked. So I'm now going to crack on and make my soup for tonight. Now, as I've already said, I had some very limp celery in the fridge, so I'm going to pop that in. I've got some leftover swede, I've got some leftover cabbage, I've got some carrots, garlic, got some baby spinach to use up. I've got a plethora of pea shoots because I ordered a packet, and I also got some from the greengrocers, so I'm going to pop some of them in. I've got my vegetable stock, and as I've got my herbs de Provence out, I'm going to put some of that in. So we'll see what this turns out like for tonight. I'm going to flip the camera angle. I'm going to get my soup maker and we'll prep that together. Let's go. First going to make my stock ready. It's good to get this done in advance. I will put about 500 ml of liquid in. So put that there. I've already boiled the kettle. Fill this up. Now I think that's about 500 ml. I really ought to get a jug where I can read. The measurements. They've kind of worn off of here. But there's my stock already dissolving. I haven't got the soup maker out yet, but I will get it shortly. I'm just going to get a bowl to put my ingredients in. I will start with the carrots and peeling those, ready to chop. Just want that bit of sweetness from the carrots. Didn't want a totally green soup. I have quite a lot of carrots in the fridge at the moment, so yeah, I'll just add some carrots to it. Do like a mystery soup. Totally surprise as to what it's going to be like, but think of the soups I've made so far. I've not really had one that's too unpleasant. Did one some weeks ago that I wasn't as keen on as others. I think I put too much potato in it though, so it was quite thick, and I'm not such a fan of the thickest of soups. These carrots definitely need using up, so it's good that I thought to put them in my soup. And the last one was a bit not bendy, but a bit softer than it should have been. Let's get rid of that. But as I said, you can still use all these vegetables that are a bit past their best in the soup. You still get all the flavour and nutrients from them. Just wouldn't really want to eat them, you know, with your Sunday roast anymore. There's nothing wrong with making a good soup, and soups are very good for me on a Monday with my fitness classes. Need to think of some different things that I can have going into the summer. Well, actually towards the end of spring as well. I won't really want to be eating a soup all year round. I mean, I suppose a light salad would be a good thing to have after my classes. I'm sure I will find something suitable, and as soon as I do, I'll be sharing it with you here. Okay, so I've got my soup maker ready. Let's see exactly where these ingredients are coming up to on the soup maker. So we'll plonk all this in. Before we prep anything else. Because we wouldn't want to overfill. Oh, we've got a fair bit of room, so let's carry on with the process. Might not get all the green stuff in, but yeah, no, we'll give it a try. Right, we'll pop some of this cabbage in. Sea vegetable soup at the moment. We've got celery, we've got carrots, we've got cabbage. The only thing that's not a sea is the leek. But let's go with it and see what happens. Now I think I can definitely put some of my swede in. So I'm not going to put all of it in. I'm going to put about half, I think. That's another nice speed food. We can keep that for another soup. That will fit in that bit. So let's get rid of that. Let's just give this a quick peel. Ooh, that is the timer for the quiche. Let's have a quick peek. Test with a knife. It might need a little longer, I think. Not too much though. Maybe 5 minutes. Give it 5 more minutes, I think. Do the rest of that dicing. There we go. Put some garlic in. A couple of cloves should do it. As long as I've got enough time later on, I can make another soup with my spinach, make a green soup. Done a spinach soup before and I had guests and it went down amazingly well, so could do that again for sure. Beautiful. In she goes. Let's not lose that piece. Okay, so that's all that in there. I need to put my stock in. I think it needs a little bit more still hot. So we'll bring that level up. There we go, that's it to the max. And we're just going to add our herbs de Provence. Give it a nice shaking in, and there you go. I'm going to set this off. Line it up, down it goes. And I'm going to set this off for a cream soup. And there we go. Off it goes. I think I will prep the ingredients for the next soup quickly. Let's check on the quiche. Bring that in. Look at that. Looks good. Smells brilliant. Let's carry on prepping this for later. I think we could put some of the Swede in with it to give it a bit of body. Not too much. Just enough. Chop a lot of this spinach up. Right, that is that done. So the first batch of soup has just finished. I'm just going to put the stock pot in here and get the stock ready for the second batch. I will then be decanting the first soup, ready to put these in for the second soup. Let's have a look-see at the soup. Actually might give it a... No, we're not going to give it an extra blend. Ooh, thicker than I thought it would be, but that's alright. Looks good. Let's decant that. There we go, and that is the first soup done. Now I am going to give the soup maker a clean, and then we will crack on with the next soup. My soup maker is nice and clean, so I've just actually finished chopping the spinach, and I did decide to put the extra swede in, so I am going to add this to the soup maker. I'm going to try and pick the bowl up with it so full. Let's put some like swede in first. I want to knock this everywhere. Right, let's see if we can get this in without it going everywhere. Of course, we've got the swede, we've got the leek, and we've got the celery in here. That's it. Oops, did lose a couple of bits there. Yeah. Just get these last couple of bits out of the bowl. There we go. Now I'm going to add all the greenery. So I've got in here, I've got some of the spinach and a few pea shoots. Let's pop this in. This. There we go. There's a bit of room to add some more. I've just added the rest of the spinach and it's taken it up to the level. Just need to cut some garlic and just nip the ends off and make it easier to peel. Let me give these a little bash. And then they should peel nicely. There's that one. There's that one. And this tiny little one which I just thought we'd add, because one of the clothes wasn't quite so big. And there we go, that's those. We're just gonna roughly chop these. Add that little bit of extra flavour to the soup. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of this bit here. It's not going in the soup. We don't want the ends or the outer crust. I'll just pop this in. Okay, so I've got my stock nicely dissolved. And I've got some pepper. So I'm just going to move you up. You can see the garlic on top of the spinach. Oops. Let's add the stock now. I think I need a little bit more water again, so I shall just go and grab that. That's better. I have brought the water level up. You can see just nicely there, sorry. My phone is actually on charge, so I'm using my tablet, so I'll just give that a little bit of a shifty, just a nice level. And I'm going to put some black pepper in. So you can see I've just ground some black pepper on the top there. I'm going to give that a nice stir about. All that's left to do is pop on the lid, line it up, there we go, that's done, and we're going to pop it onto creamed and start that off. And now that's the second lot of soup done, ready to cook. Now in the soup maker today, now I'm going to enjoy my late breakfast. So that is cooking nicely. Here's the soup I made earlier, plus the healthy quiche with the potato crust. Cannot wait to have some of that for my dinner later this afternoon. So let's see what the second soup has come out like and decant it. Smells good. Of course, this is going to be a very different colour to the last because it's spinach. Let's just get that out of the way. Quite a thin one, this. Compared to the other. Look at that. Lovely spinach soup. I'm going to pop this to cool over there. And let's show you my wares of today. There we go. So there's the potato crust quiche. There's my carroty type soup and my spinach soup. And as it is coming up for 4:30 now, I am going to cut into the quiche and have that as my late lunch. Well, I have managed to cut a slice out. Well, I've gone for a quarter. Sadly, getting it out of my dish, I haven't dished it up so well. Not easy to get out of this. I'm just going to heat it up a little bit because obviously it was cooked some time ago and I think I would enjoy this warmer. And I think I might do myself a little bit of side salad with it. So I'm going to do myself some lettuce, some cucumber, some tomatoes. So there's my late lunch to have before I go to fitness. I am going to go and enjoy this. Well, I haven't showed you me having my dinner tonight. It's almost time for bed. I was so hungry after my classes tonight, but I could not decide which soup to have, so I had a smaller mug of the spinach soup and a small mug of the carrot veggie soup. They were both gorgeous in their own rights. If you have liked this content, don't forget to give me a subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Like the video, comment me what you've thought of today's video, and also recommend me to all your friends. And until next time, it's ciao for now.